Hello guys, my name's Holly Haslam and I'm director of the Heartbeat musical. I'll be doing a description of each step and scene that is shown in my movie, why I use certain effects, why I use certain shots, why I felt like doing certain editing made the musical more efficient and come across more better. So let's begin with scene 1. So for my first scene, I introduced a lot of beginning titles. I felt like this was really effective along with the pattern of the song, and also with the banning of feet, banning of hands, introduction. It really creates an effective suspense to what is going to happen at the beginning of my film. Also using lighting and people running towards the camera, I feel like this really creates a questioning as to what is happening. When the song does go quiet, you see an actor turn his head and lip the lyrics. Obviously this is very unexpected, but at the same time the suspense really was worth it in my opinion. The next scene we see everyone fall into a corridor, a number amount of people. The reason why I used a higher amount of people is I felt like the scene was more effective, it was more exciting, it ran a lot of energy. We then get a slow motion effect of 2 doors opening, and the main character for this song, Mark, makes his entrance. This I also feel creates a lot of really good suspense with the slow motion effect. As the dancing carries on, I feel like you see more energy, everyone's more excited and getting more involved, which I felt like made the film really exciting at the beginning. Once the dancing has finished on the first scene, we see the doors slowly open again for another entrance. This is when we start to hear quite a loud ringing sound. This ringing sound indicates the person that is coming through is in fact deaf.
I loved music. It was my home.
When our main character enters the next scene, we find that she tells her story about who she is, what's going on,
The night was countless. We danced and giggled. Me and all my friends.
and then all of a sudden I did a change of tone within the music,
The doctors.
as I felt like when she tells the audience that she is deaf, this is a sad moment for her as she lost her friends. And the next scene we watch as the class come all into the classroom with the teacher ahead, and I did use a fast motion speed for this as I felt like it would have dragged. When the teacher starts to speak, he explains to the class that they'll be doing partner work, and then we see a girl in the classroom who perks up and says, "I want to work with her." And of course the teacher is quite confused, quite shocked, as it's going to be quite difficult for this girl to communicate with Ellen. When Ellen's classmate Poppy does volunteer to help her, she picks up a whiteboard and pen. I felt like this was the most effective way for Poppy to communicate with Ellen.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark.
Poppy then starts to sing a song to Ellen. Now, obviously this doesn't make sense at first because obviously Ellen can't hear. But with Poppy's signs and explaining the song as she goes along, for example, she draws a little sailboat on the whiteboard which explains the lyrics, and she's just basically saying, "I'm here to help you, I'm here to be your friend, and I'm here to support you." And Ellen really understands that as the song goes along.
On you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there.
At the end of the song, I used the t-shirt to basically stop the song as to where it was. And I felt like this was also really effective as Poppy communicates with Ellen as if to be quiet, you know, we're going to get in trouble. The next scene we watch Ellen leave class and Poppy and a group of friends go to follow her and try and get her attention. Now the reason why I added this, and I think it's such a strong message, is because they still think she's normal. They don't, you know, consider her disability, you know, they don't think she's different. The next scene we watch the group of friends having lunch together with Ellen, and we notice, well, Poppy notices that Ellen is quite upset because she can't communicate with the rest. Everyone's questioning, you know, what's going on, but they're also using another contact of using a group chat on their phones, which I also think is very effective. As the scene goes along, we notice Ellen does get very upset because she wants to be a performer. But her friends do encourage her she could be whatever she wants to be. And this really puts Ellen's positivity back on place. And we also watch her play a video on when she could perform.
I just want you close, where you can stay forever. You can be sure that it will only.
But during this video scene, I decided to include basically their journey as friends. As they grow through college as students, they grow as friends and they share and communicate with Ellen, and she records all of her great times during this, you know, time with her new friends. The reason why I added this with the video of Ellen singing was because I felt like it created more interest, it created the storyline more effectively, and I think it came across very well, and I was very pleased with the scene. I also used the effect of a black and white background, as I felt like this was also more of a video-like, camera-like recording, and that's also what I wanted to get across. The next scene, I use quite low-key music in the background because this seems quite a low in Ellen's life as having this disability. One of her friends has been open and asked Ellen to sit next to her. This is Mark, and Mark approached Ellen in a way that wasn't very suitable, pressuring her to talk. When people can't hear, this is quite a struggle, and when talking it doesn't come out right, and obviously this is very personal to certain people with a disability, and I don't think Mark really understood that, as it can be quite embarrassing for them personally. After the scene though, we watch as Poppy, you know, cheers Ellen up just by a hug, you know, and by being there for her like she promised at the beginning. The next scene we see Ellen and Poppy sitting at a windowsill giggling, and then Ellen gets a text from her mum saying she needs to go to the hospital. And we watch Ellen go off to her surgery, give Poppy a hug goodbye. When Ellen and Poppy say their goodbyes, I use an overvoice narration and also quite a slow motion of Ellen. Use more over voice narration of a surgeon talking to Ellen. I felt like this really created a lot of suspense. We then hear Ellen talk about dreaming while she was on the surgery table about what it would be like to perform again. For the next scene, I used a mashup of two songs, both powerful women's songs. And the reason why I used both Ellen and Poppy, as I felt like it really showed Poppy fearing what's going to happen with Ellen, but also Ellen being able to perform in some way with Poppy, even though it's in a different location. She feels like she still can perform with Poppy like she always wanted to. I loved this scene so much. I think it was so powerful. I loved how the actors, cast and crew really worked hard on this scene, and I think it went absolutely well. I loved the way each shot went to the other, and I feel like this really was effective in the film and was a scene that I was happy to keep. Once the song is finished, we watch as Poppy shares the news with the rest of the classmates. A month later, we see the teacher introduce someone special and beware because she is very sensitive. We see Ellen come in and everyone get extremely excited and curious as to whether they could hear her. She could hear them. And then when they say yes, it's an extreme excitement. So this is when I did add an extra idea of having a news reporter. Instead of a stage and a teacher introducing the last scene, I decided to change it up a bit and do it on the news because it is a big thing about a girl losing a hearing and finally gaining it back after a big surgery.
Today. Here's what our cameras caught.
Now, the last scene had to be my favourite out of all of them. The main reason for this was I felt like it was so organised, the scene. I felt the lighting was absolutely perfect to the way I wanted it. And also I decided to have the idea of adding credits of each character. The reason why I did this is because I felt like it was so effective. You really got to know the characters, and also you saw part of us filming, us organising the filming. I felt like you really related to the movie in general, the hard work that has gone in it, and you get an idea of how much fun we actually had when filming all the scenes. At the end, I did use a range of different shots, and I really wanted these shots to be funny, interesting, and kind of eye-catching, and also people will be able to see, you know, the hard work that has gone into this film and how passionate everyone is about it. On the very last bit, you also see everyone finish the song and kind of clap to themselves, applause themselves because of all the hard work is finally over. And I felt like this was a big relief for everyone, not just for myself, but also I felt like the audience will be able to see that and show, you know, that we did hard work, we did a good job, and we're really happy with it. And overall I am extremely happy in my short film. Issues were made, mistakes were made, and the whole film soon came together. A lot of changes I did make. However, I felt like my film was a good length. I felt like the scenes were really effective, they flowed well together, and I felt like the whole process of it was really good, and I'm extremely happy with it. So that's me giving you a little chat, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown a man. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me.